I'm Melissa Nielsen with Waldorf Essentials. I hope you are having a wonderful Monday. It is really windy in San Diego. So if you hear some crazy sounds, that's why. It's really windy. Eric has a CPAP machine. He said this morning he thought, man, my machine's loud, and then he turned it off and realized it was the wind. It's really windy outside. So hold on to something if you're in San Diego because I don't want you to get blown away. We do have a couple announcements really quick. First announcement is that if you missed our amazing training on co-ops, you can still, excuse me, you can still purchase it at waldorfessentials.com/co-op. And even though it won't be live anymore, you'll still get the replay. And we'll actually have an audio available of it shortly for up in the store as well. So there's that, if you missed that. And the other announcement, the bigger announcement, is that we are doing a wonderful training this weekend on reading, writing, and spelling in the Waldorf world. And specifically how to approach it at home, how it might be a little bit different than the school, how to really work with your child if you're struggling, how to be ahead if you are not there yet and you're maybe going into it in the fall. Like how do you keep yourself from from having those struggles. And there's also an added awesome bonus. It's we are giving away our grade 1 for those who sign up. So while I reference those stories, you don't have to have it in order to. This works with any curriculum. It actually works with even non-Waldorf curriculum. So the methods that I employ are methods that have been used in schools, but they're also methods that some things that I came up with on my own. And so we'll be talking about that. We'll be talking about reading deeply, but definitely writing and spelling, and how all of those things are really interconnected. And so if one is off, you're going to probably be struggling with one of the other ones as well. So we'll talk about that pretty in depth. In fact, we've slated 3 hours for that training. I don't think it'll take that long, but we have given it that much time because I really want everybody who comes to leave with feeling really good, with tons of ideas to get started, and really, some confidence. That's really what I'm hoping for here, is to help families with confidence in helping them on this journey. Because reading is a real hard one. Like, nobody says, "Hey, how's your spelling?" or "Hey, how's your writing?" Everybody goes, "Is your kid reading yet?" And so this whole it then causes doubt. It causes doubt. And I'm a veteran homeschooling mom. I've been at this for a long time. My oldest son turned 22 yesterday. I've been at this a long time. But there are still people that are like, "Is Soraya reading yet? How's she doing?" And of course I nicely say, "Well, that's not your business." But then at the same time, that mom thing goes on in my head, and I go, "Okay, but we know what we're doing, and we're evaluating, we're going forward." And so having somebody behind you that sort of helps you to sort of give you a cheering section, rah, 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 that's really, I think, really important as you're walking through this. So if you've had any struggles, then definitely this is the time to join us. And if you are in a spot where you're wanting to make sure that you cover all your bases, then I would for sure join us. If you're having struggles, like I said, with writing and spelling, also would be an opportunity to join us. So that address, and Eric will put it in the notes over at Facebook and on Instagram. For those of you who don't have that, it is in my bio, but it is also waldorfessentials.com/reading. And that training will be held this coming Saturday, the 26th of January. And it will again be at 6 a.m. Pacific time. That allows me to then meet most of the time zones in the Northern Hemisphere. So just definitely, if this is anything that you struggle with at all, I would hop over there. Please feel free to send me a DM or a PM if you have any questions, because I want to make sure that I answer those for you. And if you can't attend live, but you really want to do the training, then for sure do the training and or sign up for it and send me your questions, and I will make sure that they get answered while I'm live. So the next question I know I often get is this free for Thinking, Feeling, Willing members? Yes, it is. It will actually become Mom Lesson 17. So if you cannot attend live, not a big deal. I would still register for it. There's a link in the Thinking, Feeling, Willing support group on Facebook. So I would still definitely register for it so that you can get all the information from it. Okay, I think that's all with announcements. Any questions over there before I get started?
No.
All right. So good morning again. Today we're going to talk about, this is the last one in our co-op series, and we're going to talk about learning in a co-op. Sort of what that looks like, different ways you can go about it. Again, if you missed our training on Saturday, you can still purchase that and get the replay for it. But really today I just want to focus just quickly and lightly on how you approach learning in a co-op. So there's a couple of different ways you can go about it, or I should say a few different ways, because a couple would only imply that there's two. There's a few different ways you can go about it. Often co-ops, when they first start meeting together, it's just a play date. They get together, they go to a park, or they're at somebody's house. They might be having a circle, and their kids are probably generally pretty small. They're, generally 6 and under, 7 and under. And that's often how people start. And that's a great place to start, But as your kids start to grow, you're going to want to add more to that co-op and more to your responsibilities and who's doing what. And again, for that, I would definitely recommend the training that we just did. But I think in general, what I would do is I would say you should probably decide within your co-op what you're doing and how you want to add functionality and how you want to add structure to your co-op. So when we started the one here in San Diego, and this was the third or fourth co-op that we started, I can't remember. We started with park days and with the circle element, and then we started dividing up into lessons. And right now we have about 40 kids that range in age from infancy up to 14. And so we have a wide range that we are meeting. And this would be, listen up if you guys have older kids and you're like, how in the heck do I reach the older kids? Because I know the older kids get bored easily. And to her credit, Eleanor came until she was 16, and after that she was like, Mom, I said, oh, it's okay, it's all good. She graduated out of co-op at a good time for her, at a good time for our co-op. And at the time the next youngest was like 13 or 12, and so that was hard for her. So if you've got a co-op situation where you've only got one teenager or even two teenagers, I say you've got to put some energy into attracting more older kids. So in our balance right now, we actually have 12 kids that are 9 and up in our co-op, 11 that are 7 and 8 year olds, 10 that are kindergartners, 5 and 6, and then we have about 8 or 10 of the 0 to 4s. So we have a pretty good spread, and when we add people to our co-op, we are very careful about who we add and where we add them. Like if we have too many of one, not enough another, what are we really trying to grow? Because we really look at the dates of birth of all those kids and when they're going to be moving up into the next class, how that's going to look for that class, how, if we have to split a class, do we have enough moms to be able to do that? So really being able to pay attention to sort of the dynamics that are in your co-op, I think, is super important. What I would say then from there is, when it comes to learning in a co-op, we split up into classes, and in each parent, we have a parent rotation, and they take turns teaching each of the classes. And I think it's fantastic. The moms in our co-op really love it. The kids really love it. The kids get excited. They have certain teachers that they love to see over and over again. They get excited and nervous when they have a new mom teacher, but they get excited because they know what the expectations of my co-leader and I are, so they know that they're pretty high. And they know that just by attending that they're going to have fun. So we have not, since we have split up into classes and really focused on each age group, we've not had any trouble with somebody saying, I don't want to be here, this is boring. Because honestly, you have to meet those kids where they are. You can't give the 12-year-olds, the 11 and 12-year-olds, you can't give them a little circle that you would give the 5 and 6-year-olds. You just can't. It will not meet them, and it shouldn't meet them. It's really, if you look at Steiner's development, it shouldn't meet them at that point. And many children, you might be able to say, well, just come and help with the others. That only goes so far when they're ready to be with their peers. So we really work on peer relationships. We really work on keeping that alive for those bigger kids so that they want to be there and so that they have a good time being there. And, oh, excuse me. That can definitely be a challenge, and the teacher that has to take, or that decides to take on that group, has to be ready to, really meet them. And they have definitely they have movement needs. They're different movement needs than the younger ones. So, I would say that if you're going to split up and do lessons, pay close attention to your group. Pay close attention to what they need. And that would really go for any age group that you might be teaching. In our co-op specifically, we do main lesson, but it's not, everybody's not on the same track. So because we have so many different ages, we don't go, okay, well, we have to do the Waldorf grade 4 for this month. No, we break up into topics. My co-leader and I, we invite people to share with us what topics they'd like to see for the new year when we have our June meeting. And then she and I sit down and we actually lay them out and then bring them to our group. So with that, we usually do 2 lesson days a month. There ends up being 1 festival most months, and then we have a field trip. And we usually have somebody that takes those lessons for 2 months at a time. So there will be a lesson that generally spans over 2 months. So this month, or this year, we're actually doing an overarching theme for January, February, March on survival skills and navigation, because we are going camping as a co-op at the end of March. And with that, we wanted the kids to be sort of really ready. They know how to, especially the bigger kids, knowing how to build a fire, the younger kids knowing what to collect for a fire. So understanding what kindling is and how to collect it. We're doing navigation. All the kids got compasses. I'm just going to tell you, co-op leaders, you can get compasses on Amazon for way cheap. I think we got 48 compasses for $25 or something crazy like that. Amazon is definitely a go-to for the things that we need for our co-op. So we're doing navigation. We're doing navigation by the night sky. So we're paying attention to what's going on in the night sky. And it is beautiful because all of those topics can really hit each child individually in the age that they are, and as far as developmentally. And it doesn't need to go outside those realms. It doesn't mean that the 5-year-olds are understanding what the 12 and 13-year-olds are, and it doesn't mean that that they're sort of being brought into things before they're ready. So we are really very conscious in our co-op about making sure that things are age appropriate for them. And my co-leader and I require that the teachers let us know 2 weeks in advance what it is that they're teaching, so we can actually go over those and sort of make sure that we feel like things are properly placed, and also so that our teachers can say, hey, I need this, or hey, I need that, and we can grab those things for them. So that would be sort of how we tackle learning in a co-op. When we lived in Utah and I had the co-op there, it was much more low-key. We ended up splitting, but not really. We would, like if we had a painting day, we would just sort of split the room a bit, and there would be somebody with the younger ones, somebody with the older ones. And that worked out well, but at the time, our oldest was Eleanor, and there were a couple of other kids that were her age, and she was probably, 12, 10, 11, 12. So she was younger at that point. And so it worked out. It worked out to be able to split it that way. So really and truly, if you're running a co-op, you really just have to think about your audience. Think about who you're serving. And it is about who you're serving. It is not about getting together with other moms. It's about serving the children. The other moms is a bonus. It's great if you're in there with your bestie. My co-leader and I, while we're great friends now, we were not friends before we started this co-op. We kind of had gotten to know each other, and we knew we wanted to do something together, or do something in San Diego. So we got to know each other. And for the first 6 months, we didn't have anybody but the two of us. And granted, we had, almost 10 kids, 9 kids between us. It still was not, it was not a giant group. It was just the two of us. And so with that, we grew from there, and our ideas grew from there. So we gathered together and we just did festivals, just she and I, and talked about what we wanted. And those discussions are hugely important as you're getting ready to start this. Starting a co-op is not something to be done on a whim. It's something you should really think about, because we are working with other people's children, and there are kids that will have big feelings if it doesn't work out. So really being able to decide, and moms that will have big feelings for sure, but really being able to decide what it is that you want and go from there. And that sort of what you're portraying, how you're showing up is super important. So I think that's all I really wanted to talk about today. Does anybody have any questions on either side, Instagram or Facebook? Are we good?
We're good.
All right, you guys. I hope you have a wonderful week. Cannot remember what we're talking about next week. Cannot remember. I will have to go back and look. So sorry. Join us either here on Instagram on Monday morning or over on Facebook in our Ask Melissa and Eric group. So I hope you guys have a wonderful day. And also, for those of you who are in the peaceful parenting, trying to sort out why your kids are nutso, just teasing, on Fridays, we are live on Peaceful Foundations and in the Peaceful Foundations support group on Facebook. So hope you guys have a wonderful week. See you later. Bye.